This week on Outdoor Oklahoma, we go fishing with a couple who's fished together for more than 30 years. It's a combo kind of day as we head out to Grand River for some great sand bass and paddlefish action.
Catch them at the same time, man!
Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. Each spring, the stretch of the Grand River between Lake Hudson and Fort Gibson Lake is a hopping place. When the conditions are just right, well, you'll see hundreds of anglers there taking advantage of spawning sand bass and snagging for giant paddlefish. The action is fast-paced and there are plenty of fish to go around for everyone. Today we're going to introduce you to a couple that have been fishing this stretch of the river as well as many other places around the state for more than 3 decades. To say that Paul and Debbie Arnold are ate up with fishing, well, that would be an understatement. Together they also run the popular fishing website and forum fishingnotebook.com. Well, we hopped on the boat with the Arnolds at the Grand River for an action-packed day, and you know, I picked up a few tips, and I bet you will too.
I would have no success if not for Paul getting shad.
Whoop.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, getting the shad is pretty much the hardest piece of this. It's a lot more work, but the payoff can be much larger. With the live bait, you've got to have a bait tank. You've got to learn to chemically treat the water, much like a fish aquarium in your home. You've got to install it on your boat, make room for that, get all that taken care of, and then the actual catching of the shad with a cast net is a lot more physical work. But once you get them in the tank, then you've got to learn how to store them and keep them if you're going to keep them overnight. It's not rocket science, but it's a lot more physical work.
But the payoff is astronomical compared to those who fish with artificial lures.
We keep this tackle box for this type of sand bass fishing with live bait. A supply of these small gold twisted hooks, and these are 16-ounce weights. We take 2 small ones. Not a whole lot there. Lay those out so that they don't run away from us. I think everybody's dad or grandpa showed them how to tie a hook on. I simply go through once. I make 6 or 8 turns with this slowly, and then back through the line itself, and pull down once. And then I go back through the eyelet of the hook again. Bring this out. Get through 3 or 4 turns here. I guess it also depends on how well the fish are biting. If you're in the throes of it, you get going pretty hard. And then I leave a tail. Oh, she's got a fish on, folks. All right. Then I'll take these split shots and gently go about just a foot or less. And what I like to do is the one on the bottom gets a pinch with the pliers so that it doesn't slip down and get too close to your hook. And there we are. And I usually clip off this little tail.
Could I have?
You need a net?
Nope, it's right here.
Okay. Wow, nice. So what are we fishing for again?
We're fishing for sand bass, but typically we take whatever we get. And right here we have us a probably 4-pound catfish.
We've been out here some days and caught 100-pound-and-a-half, 2-pound blue cats, and they swim up here instinctively to feed on the eggs of the, at least that's my theory.
And it's a sand bass. Sand bass fishing rules my life. I can't wait for it to start. I'm sad when it ends, no matter how many we've caught during the season. And during the summer and fall and winter months, I'm just so very, very sad and sit at my desk at work going, how much longer until I can fish again? I will fish any other kind of fish that you want to take me to or that I'm invited to. I will fish. My absolute favorite is sand bass fishing.
Donnie just texted and said that the flow started, so I'd say give it another half hour, and
Yeah, if the flow starts, that'll drive them to
it'll drive them towards the
closer to us.
to the shore. We are just north of Pryor Creek on the Grand River, between Hudson and Fort Gibson, and this part of the river is a staging area for paddlefish and sand bass to spawn. And we watch the water flow because the flow controls a lot of how the paddlefish and the sand bass congregate. If the flow is medium to heavy, that pushes the sand bass to the banks, and where they're looking for eddies to lay their eggs, where there's just a little bit less flow. And the paddlefish actually love the flow more, and that drives them further, but everybody gets stopped at the same place at the low water dam. So today we're, I don't know, about 50 yards from the shoreline, and because there hasn't been a whole lot of flow, we like to be more towards the middle. But we just got a report that the flow started a little heavier upstream a little. So we'll try this for another half an hour, and we'll see how it goes, and maybe move a little bit further north.
Paul, how many fish have you caught so far?
Well, none.
Oh, okay.
But I got you the bait.
That is true.
We've been fishing for about 35 years, and that counts dating time and married time and kids time and all kinds of stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. We don't take it very seriously and try to have a good time while we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to get away. We both have corporate type jobs, so it's the way we relax without hurting each other. I like to fish with the rod tip down because I get better sensitivity that way. Now once I believe I've got a fish on, I'll raise the tip up and reel in and keep the line tight. But also too, when the sun's shining, which it isn't particularly bright today, it's easier for me to see the tip on the water, and then we just yank back a little bit.
Some of the best ways that work for me is I will throw out and I will leave my bail up. And I do that because I can feel my rod and through the line. And as I sit here, I can feel any movement. So I can tell the difference between it hitting the ground and it hitting the mouth of a fish. The other thing that I do is I gently move it back and forth, just like that. And that tends to keep the shad a little more active.
Fishing on this part of the river gets you a little more liberal limits, especially on the sand bass. There's no limit on sand bass on this piece of the river. And I know for paddlefish or spoonbill, you're allowed one per person per day, but then there's certain days of the week that are catch and release.
We've been married for 33 years, almost 34.
Well, I guess that counts time at that little lake north of Guthrie. Seward.
Yes, Seward and Lake Hefner and...
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get old.
And then all the lakes around Oklahoma,
Eufaula,
definitely.
Gibson, Skytook, Tin Killer, Keystone, Birch.
Yes.
Oh, and I know Texoma we went once. We've been on the lower Illinois quite a bit. It's...
Broken Bow.
Oh, that's right. See, you forget about all that stuff because it's been so long.
Mario's boat.
Mario! Typically in the spring season, it doesn't have a day that it starts and a day that it ends. You watch the water temperatures start getting around 51, 52 degrees. Flow starts coming up. You can watch the flow reports in this part of the world. The great thing about the website and the club is there's always somebody out here. The club's got a lot of retired folks and they come out earlier than us working people still do. We get early reports and they post them on the website. And then, typically probably the first 2 weeks of March you start paying attention. You can come out here and get your boat and try it out and make sure everything's ready. But about the second week of March through second week of May, March to May, if you had to put arms around it. You know, a lot of that too is if the weather's pretty and the sand bass have started or different stages of the spawn, you know, you could have 200-300 boats out here. The minute it starts raining, that clears out about 50% of those. Diehards like us just throw on a jacket, and we've sat here and caught sand bass in a toad strangler. So it's right now the paddlefish seem to bring a lot of extra people too. So it's a mixed bag. Some people come out just for 3 or 4 hours, snag paddlefish, and then go, and they're happy. Catch and release, have a great time. A lot of us diehards get here at sunup. This was kind of a late start for us today, and we'll stay till dark. More than once I've made this trip back in the pitch dark with all the boat lights just real slow. But it's hard to leave a biting fish. So we started out in the Oklahoma Striped Bass Association Club. It meets once a month, every third Tuesday in Tulsa at Zebco. And we started going to that about 17 years ago, something like that. Just a tremendous way to be educated. So we've that relationship's been really long. And then we own and manage fishing-notebook.com, which is just a forum-based website where anglers from all over the state can get together and talk about the types of fishing that they do, problems with their boats and their trailers, and anything you can imagine. So another great source of information. There's about 3,200 people signed up for that statewide.
And we do have some ODWC support on that as well, where they can get on and
ask their fishing
questions to a professional.
A biologist.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the newest program we've got a highway patrolman that's from the Lake Patrol going to be answering questions about boat safety and boat maintenance and what the regulations are. And so we're just trying to get as much, since we love to do it so much, we're trying to share that with people that are just getting started or have been fishing all their life. Because the people that have been fishing, a lot of them longer than we have a lot of information to give, a lot of experience, the history. And there's a lot of storytelling that goes on there too.
You know, one of the neat things about fishing with live bait, and especially shad, is that even if you're targeting a specific species, well, you have the chance to catch all kinds of different fish, including, well, the random blue catfish. You know, you won't find a nicer couple than the Arnolds. They know how to catch fish and they know how to have fun. And if you'd like to learn more about them and their website, fishing-notebook.com, well, check out the latest issue of Outdoor Oklahoma magazine. Now, I also want to give a shameless plug here because subscriptions are only $10 a year for the magazine. You know, as the day progressed, the Arnolds hung up their sand bass rigs and traded them in for some heavy tackle and showed us a few tips about catching those legendary monster paddlefish on Grand River.
I typically use a braided line to snag paddlefish. I know with monofilament you can use it, but to me the monofilament has too much stretching ability, and if a fish gets away from you a little bit and your rod tip's not up, it causes that snapping feature. I lost too many in the beginning using monofilament line. I'm going to add two 4-ounce weights because we've got a lot of extra flow today, and I basically just tie a little loop on the end of the line, come back through, and I create a loop to put the line through here, and then the line through here, and at the very end I open this loop back up and just tuck these guys back in, and now you've got a free set of weights hanging down. All right, now that we've got the weights tied here, I like to go up about almost 2 feet and make my primary loop. And the primary loop goes through the center of the hook. Just like we did the weights, you make the loop and just go through. And the key here is to get this loop tied up to the center and pull that tight so that it tends not to slip so much here. And that'll be relevant here in just a moment. Now, I'm going to tie my way back down to the weight by making a series of circles and putting the hook through the circles. Careful to make sure that each one of these loops is in the center of this shaft. And I like to tie 5 or 6 depending on how big a hurry I'm in, and since we're not in a real big hurry at the moment, I'll do one really, really slow. Open this up with your hand, pull your finger. All 3 hooks have to go through every time. Put that down. Then you can do it really fast too once you get the hang of it. I guess it's like knitting or crocheting or something else. Now that I've got 5 or 6 of those firmly on the center of the shaft, this last loop, I'm only going to put 2 of the hooks through. And what that does is that keeps your hook in the center of the line. And see, this one already tried to turn down on me. It isn't critical, but see, it sits straighter if that goes that way. And now we're ready to go see if we can find a paddlefish. I enjoy fishing. Probably 60% of it is the fact that it gives her such joy. I like to fish, but I love to hunt. The woods are where I'm at home the greatest. And I spend a lot of time on the deer lease, but that's time away from home. It's time away from her.
Yep. See these hooks right here? Those are spoonies. You know, they may be up closer to the dam.
Well, let's go up a little bit. What we're going to do here is I'm going to drop this line down. I'm going to open the bail, and I like to let about a 1.5 boat lengths worth of line out, and it's probably right about there, and then start the snagging motion. And what I want to do is I want to be able to feel my line hit the bottom right there.
That's how it's
There's the bottom, and I just snag until my line hits the bottom right there. At the end of your stroke, you want to feel that weight bump the bottom, just like that. And you can make adjustments. You can go about snagging a paddlefish. We didn't invent anything. We didn't perfect anything. We just have our own way of doing it. Typically, you can throw from a bank, throw from an anchored boat, and yank and yank and yank. I've done it. My biggest fish is up above Keystone, a little over 100 pounds in a flat bottom boat, and I don't ever want to do that again because it's so much work. Mm-hmm. I mean, today I spent about half an hour troll snagging with an 8-ounce weight and a 10 or 14-knot treble hook, and my driver always gets me into them. She talks to the other boats. She tells us when the waves are coming, but she also watches that graph, and she's really cautious because my back as the captain is to everything. I can't see the boats coming up ahead of me, so I have to rely on her quite a bit to not run me into something.
Snag your butt off, buddy.
Really?
Snag your butt off. Fast.
Oh, got him. Come on. Got him. Oh, Well, time to replace the reel too. That's a decent one. Yeah, I gotta get under here.
Okay, now when Paul goes to get it, that it's going to take off again because it's going to be afraid. So, oh.
Little, okay. That's good, that's good. Now I'm going to throw him right there at your feet.
Okay.
I need the tail. It's a two-person job to get these guys in.
I'm just going to go right back over here.
Next thing we want to do is get the hook out of get control of the hook. This one's 35, 40 pounds, my guess. I don't keep a scale anymore. It's certainly a lot of physical effort, but thanks to the driver up there smiling, she's been dragging me through the water for a long time. Beautiful fish. I'm gonna try to, or not! I was gonna try to, okay. The biggest thing for me is watching her just get such a good time out of it. Me, I like to do it, but I don't have to do it every weekend. You know, we've been out here for a week at a time, 3 days at a time, to the point where my body is shot. But this one just keeps wanting to go and keeps wanting to go, and that's why we do it. We enjoy about 30 days a year together on the water, depending on how well the boat's running.
Yes.
So next time you're fishing out on any given Oklahoma lake, look for the Arnolds. Chances are they beat you to the boat ramp. Hey, also check out fishingnotebook.com before heading out. It could just help you make a good day of fishing even better. Now here's this week's outdoor calendar. Hey, thanks for joining us today. And we'd like to encourage you to continue on with this conservation conversation with us on social media. We're active on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. For all of us at your wildlife department, I'm Todd Craighead, and we'll see you right here next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.